We saw it in the first season. A boy whose name was Lin Yuan. And he was killed in a truck accident. Then he was reborn as a mini Godzilla. And also he got a system, which was the monster evolution system. With the help of the system, mini Godzilla can devour many monsters. And also he can become a giant Kuei Godzilla. And in his journey he meets King Kong. And Godzilla makes King Kong his friend. And Godzilla defeats the reptile leader with the help of King Kong. And in this journey, Godzilla and King Kong also get a new companion, who was a sword master wolf. And with the help of Wolf, he defeated Deathbird and included him in his team. Then they all set out in search of the human transformation fruit. And if you have not seen its first season, then the link to that video is in the description. And also pinned in the comment section. So let's start this video. This part begins, and the salamander is frightened by the sight of King Kong. And he starts running away from King Kong, but King Kong does not let the salamander go. And catches him by the leg. And looking at that salamander, King Kong says, "I will eat you whole." And seeing this, the salamander gets very scared. And King Kong ties him to a vine, and Godzilla says there are more to come. Some time later, Godzilla has tied up several salamanders with the help of a vine. And all those salamanders are running very fast. And because of those salamanders, Godzilla is moving forward while skating. And due to this, Godzilla is coming out of the swamp very fast. And at the same time Godzilla is saying to those salamanders, "Haven't you guys come after lunch?" And to scare them, Godzilla uses burst breath, which acts like a fuel. And with the help of burst breath, all these salamanders are running very fast. And just like that, Godzilla is coming out of this swamp very fast. After this, the wolf says to Godzilla, "Humans are really resourceful." And Godzilla says to the wolf, "How's this, strange tree? I can still get out of the quagmire without relying on you." And the human tree is saying to Godzilla, "I didn't expect you to be able to summon giant salamander." But Godzilla says to the human tree, "Hey, strange tree, I'm very curious, how can you speak human language and still have this human face? It can't be that you also ate human transformation fruit?" Hearing Godzilla's words, the human tree takes out the transformation fruit, and then asks him, "Is this what you're talking about?" So Godzilla looks at the transformation fruit and says, "Yes, that's what I'm talking about." And Godzilla is asking the human tree, "So after absorbing the part of the human transformation fruit, you can speak human language, and you can also form vines into human hands and feet?" But the human tree doesn't understand Godzilla's words. And Godzilla says to him, "Never mind, you stupid head won't understand even if I tell you. By the way, you are a big tree, and you can't run around. How did you get this transformation fruit?" Human tree tells Godzilla, "Hee, don't think that I can't move just because of my roots, I've my own scouts." And the human tree points to a bird and says, "It was picked up by my scouts from a very secret cave this morning." Godzilla becomes intrigued by the human tree's words, and says, "Oh? A cave not far away? Great, that must be what we're looking for. Brother tree, can you ask your scouts to take us to that cave?" The human tree points the way to Godzilla, saying, "Just ahead, follow this swamp road and it will be in sight in no time. However, if you are really looking for transformation fruit, I advise you to speed up, because my scouts told me that a group of small crabs are robbing the transformation fruit. I'm afraid if fruit in the you won't even be cave able to find the core if you go too late." Hearing the words of the human tree, Godzilla says, "No way? A group of small crabs grabbing the transformation fruit?" Then Godzilla says to King Kong, "Sister Ape, hurry up, let's set off immediately. I'll give you these 4 giant salamanders, and I'll teach you how to ride them." And now Godzilla and King Kong start heading towards the cave. And seeing both of them leaving, the human tree is smiling, and he is thinking, "I never would have expected to meet human supernatural beings with the ability to transform into monsters on this strange island. Well, maybe I can ask them to give me a hand." Godzilla and King Kong are skating fast towards the cave. And after going a little distance, Godzilla sees the cave and says that we are just about to reach it. And as both of them go ahead, they see two crabs carrying transformation fruits. Seeing this, Godzilla gets a big shock. He thinks that both of them are thieves. And those crabs also start running away from that place very fast. Then Godzilla reaches that cave, and Godzilla is saying to King Kong, "They run too fast, I can't catch up. Sister Ape, look at these giant salamanders, I will go to the cave to have a look." And King Kong tells Godzilla that you have to be careful. And Godzilla says, "Don't worry." Then as Godzilla looks ahead, he sees that those crabs have stolen all the transformation fruits. They haven't left a single fruit, and Deathbird's companions are also in the front. Godzilla then asks the system to give him recovery fruit in exchange for evolution points. Then the wolf feeds the recovery fruit to those birds, so that the birds start recovering. And Godzilla is looking at them and saying, "The strange bird must be the one who arranged them to guard the transformation fruit. Here, I need to let them inform the strange bird. Otherwise, that black-bellied bird will put the responsibility on me again. I won't take the blame." King Kong is on guard outside the cave. And then a bird flies over him, seeing which King Kong gets a little scared. Then Godzilla comes to King Kong, and Godzilla tells King Kong that there are no transformation fruits left in this place. We have to catch those crabs. So all three start moving rapidly towards those crabs to catch them. And after going a little further, Godzilla sees all those crabs. And the system tells Godzilla about these crabs, driven away by swamp crabs. It is 6 meters long and weighs 5 tons. Has a pair of powerful claws. And seeing those crabs, Godzilla thinks, driven away swamp crab, what does that mean? Could it be that someone is behind the scenes driving these crabs away? It is not impossible for that strange bird to offend other monsters. But what kind of monster can drive these crabs away? Never mind, let's just do what is needed to be done first. Godzilla attacks a crab with his tail, sending the crab flying into the air, along with the transformation fruit. And Godzilla catches it in his jaws, and the transformation fruit in his hands. And as soon as Godzilla eats that crab, he starts getting evolution points, which were 2,600 and 1,000 evolution points. Godzilla then gives transformation fruit the system to hold, and tells him, "I just fought against the cypress man-eating tree, and I've run out of evolution points. For the time being, there is no way to have a transformation fruit." And King Kong says to Godzilla, "Brother Dragon, do you want to continue chasing?" So Godzilla says, "Chase. Although the strange bird is a stinky fart, she is also considered a part of our group. Let's help her recover the transformation fruit." And Godzilla and King Kong again start going after those crabs, and Godzilla attacks many crabs, due to which all of them start rising in the air, but some crabs are getting very angry. But Godzilla is enjoying eating these crabs. Because Godzilla is eating seafood after a long time. And King Kong is also catching those crabs, and the wolf is also helping him. But then some crabs start going inside the green fog, seeing which Godzilla asks the salamanders to stop. And King Kong is asking, "What happened?" So Godzilla says, "The green smog in front is very strange. Let's see first." But when Godzilla notices that he is no longer in the swamp, he has finally arrived on the ground, and he becomes happy. But Godzilla and King Kong get surrounded by green smoke. And both of them are surprised to see this, and then a crab is coming out of the green smoke. And Godzilla finds this a bit strange, then a crab comes in front of the salamander, seeing which the salamander starts getting angry. And he directly attacks that crab, but that crab explodes at the same place. Due to which the salamander's head gets blown to pieces. And seeing this, Godzilla and King Kong become very surprised. How can that crab burst? And also these salamanders are very scared. And within no time, many crabs start coming out of the green smoke. And they start climbing directly over King Kong and Godzilla is afraid that all these crabs might explode. But Godzilla was right to panic, and all the crabs, King Kong, and Godzilla explode near the two of them. But Godzilla doesn't get hurt much. And Godzilla realizes that it is a trap. And Godzilla says, the system prompts, driven away swamp crabs. Could it be that these crabs deliberately lured us here with the transformation fruit, and then attacked us with self-explosion? And then Godzilla starts getting attacked from inside the smoke, which also hits Godzilla directly. And Godzilla realizes that it is actually a trap. That's why Godzilla tells King Kong that we have to be careful. Someone is attacking us from behind. And then the reptile leader appears in front of Godzilla, and the system tells Godzilla about this reptile, death-rotten reptile leader, poison blood, one of the 6 sons of the dead rotten reptile king. Has the blood of the ancient monster Xianglu recorded in classic of mountain and seas in its body. It's 50 meters long and weighs 415 tons. Godzilla and King Kong are surprised to see the reptile leader. But before they are done, another reptile leader arrives at this place. And the system also tells Godzilla about this reptile, death-rotten reptile leader, poison explosion, one of the 6 sons of the dead rotten reptile king. Has the blood of the ancient monster Xianglu recorded in classic of mountains and seas in its body. It's 42 meters long and weighs 380 tons. And seeing the reptile leader, Godzilla says, the leader of the dead root reptiles, poison blade, poison explosion. We were tricked by the dead rotten reptiles. Those self-exploding crabs are their masterpieces. These guys actually still use the strategy of please enter the urn. But the troubles of Godzilla and King Kong are not ending, so another reptile king starts coming again. And because of his arrival, the whole ground starts shaking. And at this place comes the reptile king, who is much bigger than King Kong and Godzilla, and the system tells Godzilla about him, the king of dead rotten reptiles degree King Willow. It has the blood of the ancient monster Xianglu recorded in classic of mountain and seas in its body, with a length of 150 meters and a weight of 1140 tons. And Godzilla is just looking at the reptile king from below, because in reality, the size of the reptile king is much bigger than Godzilla. The reptile king begins spreading poisonous fog all over the place, seeing which Godzilla tells King Kong and the wolf not to breathe this air. Hold your breath for a while. But then Godzilla begins to hallucinate, and his eyes open in a different place, and when he looks forward, he realizes that he is in his old body. And there are 3 people coming in front of him, who are the same people who used to bully Godzilla earlier. And Godzilla is apologizing to those people. But they come near Godzilla and start scaring him. And seeing all these illusions, Godzilla gets a big shock. And he also gets very angry. And when he sees it in front, both King Kong and the wolf are trapped in the illusion. And Godzilla is trying to wake them up, but he knows that they must be having some bad illusion. Then both of them also come out of the illusion, and the wolf realizes that the illusion was very bad. And Godzilla is saying to them, the dead rotten reptiles king and his 2 sons appeared at the same time. We are not their opponents at all, we need to leave. The dead rotten reptiles king must be very strong, so we can only run away from the direction of either son. Then when the wolf sees King Kong, so tears are falling from King Kong's eyes. And King Kong is telling that he has seen his parents in illusion. And he would have seen that his parents' bodies were covered with green poison. And he was looking very miserable. And hearing this, Godzilla says to King Kong, so we have to preserve our strength, and when we become stronger, we will take revenge. Then the reptile king says to Godzilla and King Kong, little ape, you took that dragon to kill so many of my children, and you just want to leave? I think you must like these 2 things very much. And the reptile king throws something at King Kong, which comes rolling towards King Kong and Godzilla. When King Kong sees that these are the skulls of apes, she is very shocked, because she thinks that these skulls belong to her mom and dad. And then the reptile king attacks him, but Godzilla saves King Kong from the reptile king's attack. But the reptile king attacks those 2 skulls, due to which King Kong becomes very angry. And she goes into her rage mode, and now King Kong, in any case, wants to kill the reptile king, which was the reptile king's plan. And Godzilla tries to stop King Kong. But now it is of no use, because King Kong is now in rage mode. And she moves forward to directly attack the reptile king. And King Kong attacks one of the reptile king's heads. But this does not make any difference to the Reptile King. And the Reptile King attacks King Kong, due to which King Kong gets badly hurt. And also the Reptile King has caught both the arms of King Kong. And the Reptile King says to King Kong, "Little ape, I will send you to meet your parents right now." Godzilla and the wolf move in to rescue King Kong. But the reptile leader appears in front of both of them, seeing whom the wolf says to Godzilla, "You go ahead to save King Kong, I will handle them." But Godzilla tells the wolf that we will not be able to fight them right now. But the wolf gets angry after listening to Godzilla's words, and he says, "What do you mean? Don't you want to save King Kong? Are you scared? If that's the case, then I go ahead." And saying this, the wolf starts moving forward, but the reptile leader comes in front of him and tries to stop him. And the reptile leader throws the wolf away. But the wolf still moves forward to attack the Reptile King. And seeing him coming towards him, the Reptile King says to the wolf, "How dare you raise your sword on me?" And the Reptile King attacks the wolf, due to which the wolf gets hurt a lot, and he starts falling down. But the Reptile King catches him in his jaws, and tells him, "You are too weak." And seeing the condition of the wolf, Godzilla gets very angry, and he also comes into his rage mode. And he moves forward to directly attack the Reptile King. But a reptile appears in front of him, and attacks Godzilla, but Godzilla catches the reptile with his jaws and throws it away. Then charges himself, and attacks the Reptile King with burst breath, which scores a direct hit. And because of this, the wolf escapes from the jaws of the Reptile King. And Godzilla begins to increase his power again and once again uses burst breath to attack. And he uses all the attacks on the Reptile King, due to which King Kong also escapes from his grip. But due to the use of burst breath, Godzilla becomes very tired. But he can't give up yet. And so Godzilla says to King Kong and the wolf, that those people should run away from this place. Since they are all injured, they should leave this place first. And Godzilla goes in front of the Reptile King and starts abusing the Reptile King, and says to him, "Damn bastard, want to tear up Sister Ape? I will tear you apart." And Godzilla jumps upwards, and directly attacks the Reptile King's neck. But then the other head of the Reptile King attacks Godzilla from behind and grabs him with its jaws, causing blood to come out of Godzilla's mouth. And he is badly hurt, and seeing this, King Kong starts worrying a lot about Godzilla. And the Reptile King prepares his poisonous attack to attack Godzilla, and delivers the attack directly, causing further injury to Godzilla. And Godzilla falls directly on the ground. King Kong starts approaching Godzilla, and King Kong feels very bad seeing Godzilla so injured. And she tries to awaken Godzilla. But the Reptile King tells them that today none of you are going to escape from this place. But then a death bird comes flying to this place, and as soon as she comes to this place she says to the Reptile King, "3 rubbish that got beaten up badly. The king of dead rotten reptiles, you dared to steal from me, it's unforgivable." And with the help of its feathers, the death bird attacks the Reptile King with a tornado, which starts moving directly towards the Reptile King. And many birds attack the reptiles, due to which all these reptiles start facing problems. Then some birds grab King Kong, as well as Godzilla, and start flying away, taking them with them. And the Reptile King is saying to the death bird, "Dare to be a hero even after being defeated?" And the death bird says to the Reptile King, when did the majestic king of dead rotten reptiles start to use indiscriminate means to carry out sneak attacks? Shame on you." But then the reptile notices that the death bird's companion is taking King Kong, Godzilla and Wolf with her, and seeing this, the Reptile King gets angry, and the Reptile King prepares a poisonous attack to attack death bird's companions. And the Reptile King does the same, and attacks one of the death bird's companions, causing him to fall downwards. And seeing this, King Kong says to the Godzilla, getting hit with the dark green beam of light, "They turned into mummies. Brother Dragon was also hit just now, will he?" And the death bird uses its wing to block the Reptile King's attack. And places big rocks in front of the Reptile King's venomous attacks, due to which the Reptile King's attacks are destroyed. And taking advantage of this opportunity, the death bird also starts running away from this place. and all the birds start going after the death bird. But the reptile king still does not give up chasing death bird, and uses poisonous breath again on death bird. But the death bird sees the attack of the reptile king, and to save himself from his attack, the death bird takes human form, due to which the death bird is saved from the attack of the reptile king. Then she sits on a bird, and starts running away from this place, and she tells her companions that we have to leave this swamp area quickly. And the reptile king just watches them go. But the reptile king's son asks, "Father, what should we do now?" So the reptile king says that Kuei dragon is very strange, it didn't die after being hit by my poison breath. However, I can feel that poison breath brought me a new kind of power, that is the power of the source of life taken from Kuei dragon. Call up your brothers and hunt down those monsters, I need to quietly digest this strange life force in my body, and then the reptile king leaves that place. After this, we see Godzilla and his companions. And the death bird is saying, "Next, where do we go? All my territories have been captured by dead rotten reptiles," and the wolf says, "We should go to my place." Then when King Kong sees Godzilla, she is shocked. And King Kong says, "What happened to Godzilla?" And when the death bird looks back, so she too gets surprised. Then after this, they all reach the wolf's place. After some time, Godzilla's eyes opened at that place, and he is surprised to see himself. Then King Kong and Death Bird appear in front of him, who are laughing at Godzilla, because now Godzilla has become very small. But Godzilla is saying to both of them, "What did you guys eat? Because of which you guys became so big?" And Godzilla looks at the wolf and says to him, "When did you become so big? And you are still in human form?" Godzilla is not yet aware that his size has reduced. And King Kong tells him, "Godzilla, we have not become tall, but you have become short." And Godzilla gets a big shock after hearing this, "What happened to him?" And Godzilla asks the system, "What happened to him?" So the system tells Godzilla, "Your body flows with the blood of the ancient tyrant Kuei recorded in Classic of Mountain and Seas. You were destroyed when you just entered the growth stage. You have to practice leveling from scratch." After listening to the system, Godzilla asks him, "What do you mean by being scrapped and destroyed? Please explain clearly." Then the system starts telling Godzilla, according to Kuen's analysis, the poison breath of the dead rotten reptile king can absorb the life source of living things, leading to the rapid death of living things. And your source of life is formed by exchanging evolution points, so poison breath absorbs the evolution points you get after coming to this world, and it won't cause death. But one thing is very worrying, poison breath can add the life source taken away to the dead rotten reptiles king, so it now has all the evolution points you got after you came to this world. Godzilla is shocked to hear the system's words, and Godzilla says, "You mean he got all my life source? Fuck, that big reptile is already strong enough, wouldn't it be against the heaven to get so many life sources? When one is rising, the other is falling, I'm no match for that big reptile now. Well, it seems that I can only hang on temporarily, eat desperately, and earn back the evolution points. Wait until I become a 100-meter giant beast, and then go back to that place again." Then the death bird says to Godzilla, "Are you really special? Your breath can kill dead rotten reptiles that we can't kill. And the dead rotten king can kill the breath of any creature, but it can't kill you." And Godzilla says, "It just makes you smaller, what the hell are you? What do you mean by that? Can you talk properly? I'm a Kuei dragon that blows up heaven. The one who wants to be the king of monsters." But the death bird makes fun of Godzilla and says, "You? So small and yet you want to be the king of monsters?" And Godzilla says to Death Bird, "Who said I am small? How can a man be called small? Just watch, as long as I can hold on, eat to death, and I'll turn back into a tall and handsome dragon in a short time." Then Godzilla asks the wolf, "What place is this?" So in response King Kong says that this is the wolf's cave. But when Godzilla looks ahead, he sees a lot of weapons, which are the wolf's armory. And Godzilla thinks that this place is a tomb. And the wolf says, "Under that tomb is buried my master, a human being. These weapons are also his." Godzilla says to the wolf, "You have lived with human beings, so your sword skills and fighting skills are all alike by your master? But, as a human being, how could it be possible to hold such a huge weapon?" And the wolf tells Godzilla about his master and says, "My master is a human supernatural being. His ability is mind control, because he loves cold weapons, so his way of fighting is to manipulate various weapons to fight. Even with a sword that is more than 10 meters long, he can use his thoughts to move vigorously." Godzilla is surprised to hear the wolf's words, and Godzilla says to the wolf, "Human beings with supernatural powers? Do supernatural beings still exist in this world? Come on, tell me." And Godzilla feels that the world I got reborn in is not Blue Star. Monsters, and humans with supernatural powers that are comparable to monsters? I don't know if there are other supernatural beings. And the wolf tells Godzilla more about his master and says, 20 years ago, I met Master who had accidentally broke into this island to escape the pursuit of enemy. He saved me from Saber Wolf." Master was very interested in the giant creatures on this island, and had also explored the underground of the island, looking for the root cause of the giant creatures. He taught me how to use knives, swords, and other weapons. It's a pity that I am a wolf and I don't know how to read, so I can't learn the essence of his martial arts. Master told me that there are many supernatural beings with extraordinary abilities in the human world. Some can control fire, some can release thunder and lightning, some are born with supernatural powers, and some can summon terrifying creatures from other worlds. Some are good and some are bad. They're divided into two factions of good and evil. Master came to this island after being hunted down by the evil enemy. Master likes to collect all kind of cold weapons, large and small. He had a storage ring made by a storage ability user. He can store all his weapons and carry them with him. And Godzilla is shocked when he discovers that the wolf master had something to store the weapons. So he starts imagining that thing could be a storage ring, and Godzilla is also asking where the ring is. But the wolf tells Godzilla more about his master and says, "I lived with Master for 10 years, and then suddenly one day, the Master's enemies broke into the island, and Master went to war behind my back in order not to implicate me. Later, I found the dying Master in a messy forest. He killed the enemy and seriously injured himself. In the past 10 years, I brought my people to guard here, guarding Master and everything about him." Then the death bird says to the wolf, "So, for the sake of a dead man and these scraps of metal, are you willing to reach a non-aggression agreement with the dead rotten reptile king? Let these damn reptiles corrode this island bit by bit. If territories are gone, so what's the use of guarding these rags?" But the wolf gets angry after hearing the death bird's words, and the wolf says to the death bird, "Shut up, strange bird, I will not allow you to insult my master." But the death bird angrily says to the wolf, "What I said is the truth. Bing-Chi Wolf, although you are not in the form of a wolf now, it seems that the dead rotten reptile king has recognized you. You broke the agreement and drew your sword, so you think you can get away with it?" And Godzilla starts stopping both of them from fighting. And tells them, "Bing-Chi Wolf, is this place hidden? The reptiles don't know about this, do they?" And the wolf says that the reptile king would not know about this place. And hearing this, Godzilla says, "Then that's good. The first thing to do now is to get more food. I want to start the gluttony mode." But both of them get angry at Godzilla's words, because how can anyone talk about food at such a time? And hearing this, Godzilla smiles and says, "Well, people need supplement nutrition to grow." After some time, we see the bodies of many crocodiles and saber-toothed cats lying near the cave, which King Kong is cooking on a barbecue. And seeing this, Godzilla is happy, and he is saying, "Wow, so many prey? It's really good to have friends." And Godzilla also has a secret barbecue sauce, which Godzilla is happily applying on the bodies of those crocodiles. And a very nice aroma is coming from the meat, smelling which the death bird is thinking, "What's in that bottle? Why is it so fragrant? I smell it. It seems to have anise, cinnamon." And also the wolf also likes the smell of meat very much. Then King Kong picks up a big piece of meat and gives it to those small wolves to eat. And all the little wolves eat meat with great pleasure. And at the same time Godzilla and his party are eating meat together. After some time, Godzilla has eaten too much meat, and Godzilla lies on the ground, saying, "This is the first time I visit the site. I wonder if I were to check in here for the first time, will something good come out?" And Godzilla asks the system to check his status, and asks about what skill he has got. The system tells Godzilla, a level skill Burette Bite, small monster version, Burette Bite, small monster version of the human form, Burst Bite. With sharp teeth, huge bite force, and amazing speed, you can easily do a bloody thing for monitors bigger than you. And after knowing about this skill, Godzilla gets very angry, and he says to the system, "Burst Bite, small monster version? System Kuan, you are a bit too busy with errors. Moreover, why does this little beast version make me feel full of discrimination against my height?" But the system tells Godzilla, "This is Kuan's comprehensive analysis of your current state, and specially customized most suitable skills for you. As long as your physical strength can bear it, you can bite your prey like a piranha, peck through a tree like a woodpecker, and burrow like a mole." Hearing the system's words, Godzilla says to him, "Piranhas are okay, but how about forgetting woodpeckers and moles? I eat meat, not soil." And a few days pass, and Godzilla is resting, and Godzilla has given the wolf the transformation fruit, and Godzilla is saying to the wolf, "Eat it, and you can turn back into a giant wolf. In the future, you can also change between wolf and human forms at will." And the wolf eats the transformation fruit. And the death bird is watching him. Then the wolf sits in meditation, and Godzilla is telling the wolf, "Brother wolf, now you need to gather your energy and feel the existence of the crystal nucleus in your body. Then use the mind to break the crystal nucleus, glide the energy in the crystal nucleus into the limbs and bones, and then you can become a monster again. Of course, this process is not easy. I guess you should be able to transform in 1 or 2 days." And then the wolf's body starts glowing, and Godzilla is shocked to see this, and Godzilla thinks that the wolf is a genius. And the death bird is also surprised to see this, and she is thinking, "Sure enough, he changed back. Does my transformation fruit this too? What method did Lin Yuan listen?" And within some time, the wolf returns to its original form. And King Kong goes near her and starts caressing her. And Godzilla is thinking, well, the problem of brother, the wolf has been solved. Next, it is time to witness the miracle. Then Godzilla says to the system, "System Kuan, add all 200,000 evolution points to height." And Godzilla's body starts glowing, and Godzilla is thinking, well, I have more than 200,000 evolution points now, so it shouldn't be a problem to grow to 20 meters, right? And a bright light shines in the middle of the forest, then the system appears in front of Godzilla and says that your size has increased by 2 meters. And as soon as Godzilla hears this, he gets very angry, and Godzilla is saying to the system, "System Kuan, are you fooling me? I have restored the settings. How can I increase my height by 2 meters with 200,000 evolution points?" But the system says to Godzilla, "Please, you are not deleting your account and redo, okay? Your current situation can be understood as the queen has lost all equipment and skills, but the level is still there. So even though you only have a height of 8m now, the number of evolution points needed to increase your height is the same as the number of points you need to increase your height to 50 meters. Hearing the system's words, tears start coming from Godzilla's eyes, and Godzilla is saying, "Damn. How long will I have to eat before I can return to my previous height? System Kuan, you are not going to suffer the host endlessly, are you?" But then Godzilla's body starts glowing with green light, seeing which the system is shocked. And even Godzilla does not understand what is happening to him. And also Godzilla's height used to increase by 2 meters, now it is starting to decrease. And seeing this the system says to Godzilla, "The poison effect of breath, the dead rotten reptile is still there, and it can continue to take away the source of life you exchanged through evolution points." And after listening to the system, Godzilla gets another blow, and Godzilla says, "Can I never grow?" After this the scene shifts and we see the Reptile King's cave, where the reptile is saying, "Just now, I actually felt that guy, Kuei Dragon's source of life force transmitted to my body again. What method did this guy use to regain the power of life in just a few days? But this king has already sensed your position. This time I will definitely catch you all. After this, we again came towards the cave. And the death bird looks at Godzilla and says, that green light just now must be the poison breath of the dead rotten reptile king? Unexpectedly, this reptile king could imprint the moves in Lin Yuan's body. Is this equivalent to poisoning? Toxins are always lurking in his body, constantly depriving him of his source of life. You can gain strength and increase size by devouring. But this poisoned breath in the body is equivalent to locking your height. And King Kong says to Death Bird, Sister Bird, you have to find a way to save Brother Dragon. So Death Bird tells, if we can defeat the dead rotten reptile king, the poison will go naturally dissipate, but with our current combat power, it is impossible. Therefore, we can only find a way to detoxify. And the wolf also gets surprised after listening to the Death Bird's words, and he says, this poison. Can you cure it? And Death Bird says yes, nodding her head, and she says, in the entire Abyss Island, the only one who can decipher the poison breath is by Ze, the beast master who lives in seclusion on the top of the Sage Snow Peak. Hearing Death Bird's words, Godzilla says to Death Bird, Sage Snow Peak? Beast master by Ze? Who is this? It sounds like a feeling of ignorance. But Death Bird says to Godzilla, legend has it that Bai Ziyi has the ability to live forever and has lived on Abyss Island for tens of thousands of years. He is the closest to the beast god. But he never asked anything about Abyss Island, and has been living in seclusion in Sage Snow Peak. It is shrouded in blizzards all year round, and it's extremely cold, even to monsters it is difficult to reach. However, as long as you reach the peak of the sage with perseverance and courage, you can ask the Beast Master by Ze to fulfill one of their requirements by paying a certain price. But Godzilla says, sounds like a fairy tale, what is the price to pay to ask him to fulfill a request? But Death Bird says, give what you think is the most precious thing, such as health, freedom, honor, relatives, etc. But Godzilla is not listening to Death Bird's words. And he is saying, why does it sounds more and more like a magic stick to fool people? Then King Kong says to Godzilla, Brother Dragon, the story of Bai Ze is true. I have heard it from my parents before. We can try. And the wolf also says to Godzilla, Lin Yuan, what the spirit bird said is true, my master personally visit Bai Ze at Sage Snow Peak, before his death. After listening to all of them, Godzilla agrees and says, fine, other than meeting this by Ze, is there any other way? And Godzilla asks Death Bird, so, where's the Sage Snow Peak? Can you please ask your subordinates to send us there? If we fly, we don't have to take a detour. And Death Bird says to Godzilla, I just said Sage Snow Peak is very high, and there are snowstorms all year round, birds can't fly up at all. It's okay to let my subordinates take you off, but only halfway up the mountain. And then the ground starts shaking, and Godzilla thinks an earthquake is coming. And then the ground cracks, and little wolves start falling inside it. And a huge hole is formed inside the ground, and many reptiles start coming out from inside the ground, seeing which Godzilla and Death Bird are surprised. And Godzilla understands that all this is happening because of the Reptile King's poison breath. Because of this, the Reptile King has discovered Godzilla's location. And a lot of reptiles are coming out from the underground hole, along with that the reptile leader also comes there, and that reptile leader starts spreading the poison, seeing which the wolf tells his companions not to go too close to the poison. Then the wolf starts running fast inside the cave. And then there is another underground hole at this place, seeing which Godzilla gets surprised, and he thinks that maybe the Reptile King is coming to this place? But at this place the third reptile leader comes. And with arrival, a lot of poison starts spreading in the air. And now there are 3 reptile leaders at this place. And all the small reptiles move forward to attack them. But then a light shines from inside the cave, and that light passes near Godzilla very quickly. And it is a wolf. The wolf has taken out many weapons, and has a big weapon lying in its jaws. And because of this the wolf is biting many small reptiles. And seeing this, the reptile leader gets angry, and he moves forward to attack the wolf. And both of them start fighting, and seeing them fighting, King Kong also gets angry. She says that she cannot let the reptile invade Brother Wolf's territory. Therefore she gets ready to attack the reptiles. And King Kong directly attacks the reptile leader, but the reptile leader disappears from that place with the help of poison fog. And comes directly behind King Kong, and attacks King Kong. Due to which King Kong gets a cut on his thigh. And King Kong falls away, and the reptile leader is about to attack King Kong again. And due to his attack, explosions start happening at that place. And King Kong starts running away from that place. Then many reptiles climb on top of King Kong, but then Godzilla arrives at that spot, and throws one reptile away with the help of his jaws. But when he opens his mouth, poisonous fog goes inside his mouth, due to which Godzilla starts suffering a lot. And from above, Deathbird is watching all this. Then Godzilla says to Deathbird that you can remove this smoke with the help of windblow. And Godzilla is thinking, this damn poison explosion to make other creatures self-destruct is both cruel and difficult. Hiding in the smog, you can't see where it hides. Then the Deathbird starts removing the smoke with the help of its wings. And Godzilla sees the reptile leader, and uses burst breath on him, due to which the reptile leader falls away. And that hurts a lot. And taking advantage of this opportunity, Godzilla runs straight towards the reptile leader. And he's about to attack, and he uses his skill, which is the burst bite, small monster version. And Godzilla starts biting the reptile leader vigorously. Due to which Godzilla starts getting a lot of evolution points, and his skills also get upgraded to S level. But then the reptile leader is about to blast his hand, seeing which Godzilla is unable to understand anything. And then there is a blast at that place, due to which Godzilla falls away. But Godzilla doesn't get hurt much. And Godzilla is saying, although it didn't kill the guy completely, it did damage him. Did what's more, I even got a new skill from Poison Bomb through devouring. The wolf then proceeds to fight the reptile leader. And the wolf tells Godzilla, Deathbird and King Kong to leave this place. I will take care of these reptiles. But Godzilla knows that he alone cannot stop them. That's why he says, we have to go together. But the wolf says, I will not abandon like my master and leave alone. You go first. If the dead rotten reptile king comes, none of us will be able to leave. After this, the Deathbird is attacked from an underground hole, seeing which Deathbird gets surprised. But the Deathbird avoids that attack. And there comes another reptile leader, seeing whom Godzilla gets very angry, and he shouts, another dead rotten reptile leader, who can also change color and become invisible. This old has been looking for opportunities to sneak attack, how despicable. And the wolf says, see? These reptiles are going out in force. If you don't go, it will be too late. I have a way out, don't worry about me. Go. And after listening to the wolf's words, Godzilla has to leave this place, despite not wanting to. And Deathbird, Godzilla, and King Kong start running away. And the wolf is taking care of those reptile leaders. The reptile leader disappears inside the fog, and also attacks from inside the fog. Godzilla notices this and informs King Kong, due to which King Kong escapes from all the attacks of the reptile leader. Then Godzilla gets angry, and starts charging himself, and he says, it's just in time. Try my upgraded burst bomb. If another one is seriously injured, can also help Brother Wolf reduce the pressure. Godzilla attacks with a burst bomb, which goes directly towards those reptiles, and the burst bomb is reflected after hitting the top of the reptiles. Seeing this, the reptiles are surprised as to what is happening. Then Godzilla smiles and says, I suddenly thought of a cool action of launching a burst bomb. And Godzilla pinches, due to which all the burst bombs start exploding. Due to this, there is a huge explosion at that place, and many reptiles are killed. And seeing this, Godzilla becomes very happy, because the effect of the burst bomb is very awesome. And Godzilla is saying while leaving from there, Brother Wolf, we can only do this, I hope you can get out of trouble as soon as possible. And the wolf cuts off one of the legs of the reptile leader with the sword, and the reptile leader falls to the ground, and the wolf is thinking, Lin Yuan and the others have already left, and the clansmen are also retreating. The Reptile King's target is us, and the Master's tomb and weapons are useless to it. And the wolf starts leaving this place, apologizing to his master. And while leaving he says, I will definitely come back to this place. But as he goes further, he feels something. And when he looks back, he realizes that his cave is now destroyed, and there is just a huge hole at that place, and a huge reptile comes out of that hole. But the wolf is very angry, because this reptile has destroyed the tomb of the wolf's master. After this, the scene shifts towards the Sage Snow Peak. Deathbird, King Kong and Godzilla are moving very fast, and Deathbird is saying, the ancient pterosaur can only fly until here. Next, we walk on 2 feet. And the bird drops King Kong, and King Kong comes down. And after coming down King Kong tells Godzilla, the snow is very deep, brother dragon, you need to be careful, and Godzilla jumps from above. And he says, it's okay, it's just a little bit of snow. But as soon as Godzilla comes down, he sinks inside the snow, and seeing this, King Kong starts getting worried for Godzilla, and she says, Godzilla, are you okay? Godzilla then uses heat ray, and comes out of the ice. And Godzilla didn't think the snow would be this deep? Then Deathbird lands on King Kong's shoulder, and she tells Godzilla, stupid, who doesn't know the depth. And Deathbird comes in human form, seeing which Godzilla says to Deathbird, hey, why did you change back to human form? Don't you need to climb snow mountains? And in response Deathbird says to Godzilla, I can't fly in such a big snowstorm, I'm not a dodo bird, I'm too lazy to walk. Then Deathbird asks his partner to give him that thing. So that bird places a basket near the Deathbird, seeing which Godzilla says, why did you prepare this thing? So in response, Deathbird says, because I want to have a good journey. And Godzilla asks Deathbird, where did you hide such a big bamboo basket before? You really want to treat Sister Ape like a tourist guide. And the Deathbird speaks, don't talk nonsense, aren't you coming in? Sister Ape will carry this on her back, making it easier to move around. While going inside the basket, Godzilla is thinking, why do I suddenly feel like I am a baby? And King Kong picks up the basket and then she says, hey, brother dragon, you think too much. It's still Sister Bird who is considerate, it's really convenient for me to do this. But then Godzilla feels something, but he doesn't understand what is happening. Then Godzilla and Deathbird fall down when the basket explodes, because Godzilla weighs too much. But Godzilla is saying, the quality of your basket is not good. The bottom is gone. And Godzilla sinks into the ice again. Then Godzilla comes out of the snow, but Deathbird is very angry at Godzilla, and she says to Godzilla, ugly dragon, can't you eat less on the way? So small, yet so heavy. And Godzilla removes the ice from his body, then he says to the Deathbird, I eat so much, but also for the good of everyone, and Godzilla is thinking, now I can't use evolution points to upgrade, so I can only accumulate more evolution points. In case of trouble, you can go to the mall to exchange for items that can solve the trouble. And Godzilla says to the system, System Kuan, search for me, to see if there is anything in them shop which can fit me. And the system searches the item for Godzilla, and after a while, the system sees Godzilla, a basket, which is meant to carry the monster child. And the price of the basket is 10,000 evolution points, seeing which Godzilla says, baby monster, little Kuan, do you keep such weird products in your shop? Will this hold my weight? It doesn't look great. And the system tells Godzilla, rest assured, this is tailor-made for you and can definitely bear your weight. Godzilla has no other option, so he agrees to this. And Deathbird and King Kong are looking at the basket, and Deathbird is surprised, where did Godzilla get this basket from? And she says to Godzilla, how many secrets do you have? But Godzilla sits inside the basket, then he says, this is also a secret of mine, why don't you come inside? Then King Kong lifts the basket on her shoulder, and is ready to leave. To motivate King Kong, Godzilla is saying, alright, Sister Ape. Let's go. We will conquer this Sage Snow Peak together. And King Kong gets full of enthusiasm after listening to Godzilla's words. Then she starts going towards the snow peak, through the snowstorm. But due to the snowstorm, Godzilla and Deathbird are feeling very cold. And Godzilla wonders, how did the weather change? It's good that Godzilla has special physics, because of which Godzilla is surviving this cold. And after going some distance, King Kong sees that a huge peak is in front of him. And King Kong does not see any other option. And Godzilla is saying to King Kong, Sister Ape, can you do it? This cliff is very steep, and King Kong says, don't worry, Brother Dragon, climbing is my strong point. And Godzilla says, why can't you feel the cold, you have thick fur, that's good. King Kong then tells Deathbird and Godzilla to hold on tight, and starts climbing the peak. But as soon as she places her foot on a stone, the stone breaks. Due to which King Kong starts falling down, but she is trying to control herself, and then she catches a stone, due to which they all save themselves from falling from the peak. And King Kong is saying, this time I will definitely be able to climb to the top off the cliff. And after climbing the peak for a long time, everyone comes to the top. And Godzilla is saying to King Kong, we're finally here. Sister Ape, thank you for your hard work. I will definitely make special seasoned skewers for you later. And King Kong says to Godzilla, thank you. It's not a big deal, Brother Dragon. This is what I'm good at. And as soon as they all look ahead, there is a huge lake in front of them. And Godzilla is surprised to see this lake, because it is not common to have a lake on this peak. And Godzilla is telling King Kong that you have to be careful, because this layer of snow is not looking good, which can hardly support the weight of all of us. And King Kong is also moving ahead cautiously. And as King Kong goes a little further, she sees a shadow under the snow, seeing which Godzilla says, is there something big under the snow? And the place starts shaking. And King Kong realizes that the thing wants to smash the ice. So King Kong starts running away from this place, but as soon as King Kong goes ahead, that thing smashes the ice, due to which the ice layer under King Kong's feet breaks. And King Kong stands on a piece of ice. But that thing also breaks that piece of ice, due to which they all fall underwater. And all three of them start getting pulled underwater, but as soon as Godzilla looks ahead, he is surprised because there is a walrus in front of him. And the system tells Godzilla about the walrus. An ancient walrus, 55 meters in length, weighs 80 tons and has a pair of huge fangs, which can easily pierce the enemy's body. And the walrus moves forward to attack them. And Godzilla asks King Kong to look ahead, due to which King Kong is saved from the walrus attack. But the walrus attacks King Kong with its tail, due to which King Kong starts moving away in circles. And Godzilla asks King Kong, is she okay? So in response King Kong says, I am fine. But you must save the Deathbird. And we see the Deathbird, which is unable to breathe in the water, and Godzilla looks at the Deathbird and says, it turns out that this Tsundere monster is a landlubber. And as Godzilla goes to save the Deathbird, the walrus attacks King Kong. And starts taking her with him, and seeing whom Godzilla says, Sister Ape, I will send the bird girl ashore first, and then I'll help you. And Godzilla accelerates upwards. But the ice layer is very thick. And as soon as Godzilla hits the layer of ice, he realizes that he is very small, due to which he is not able to break the layer of ice. Then he thinks of using heat ray, which might cause the ice layer to melt. And as soon as Godzilla uses heat ray, it is revealed that it cannot work in water. And Godzilla is thinking while looking at King Kong, Sister Ape can't hold on for long underwater. She needs to go ashore immediately. And Godzilla goes forward to save King Kong, and Godzilla is thinking, I don't know if the burst breath will go off, I'll just give it a try. And King Kong pushes the walrus away from her, and Godzilla starts approaching the walrus. And the walrus notices Godzilla, but the size of the walrus is much larger than that of Godzilla. But Godzilla gets underneath the walrus and attacks the walrus with burst breath, and that shows us, even if something is small, but its power should not be underestimated. And due to the burst breath attack, the walrus starts moving upwards rapidly, and breaks the ice layer and comes out. Then Godzilla and King Kong are looking at the walrus with angry eyes. And Godzilla is saying to the walrus, you fatty. you can squawk in the water, but when you go ashore, you are a salted fish. And the walrus is trying to break the ice with his canine teeth, but Godzilla and King Kong appear in front of him, and Godzilla says to the walrus, "Fatty, be good, come to my stomach." And King Kong says, "The whole body of meat must be delicious when grilled." But Deathbird takes a hit on Godzilla's head and tells him that you cannot kill him. Every monster in Sage Snow Peak could be a follower of Baize. And then the walrus breaks through the layer of ice and runs away from the place, and Godzilla says to the Deathbird, "Well, sister bird, for your sake, I'll spare its life." Then Godzilla and Deathbird sit inside the basket, and Godzilla is telling Deathbird, "Get beat up," but not being able to fight back. "I'm really aggrieved." And the Deathbird says, "There are many monsters on Sage Snow Peak who are adapted to living in the ice and snow environment, and they are basically followers of Baize. If you kill these monsters, don't ever dream of seeing Baize." And King Kong is crossing the snowstorm. And after some time, they all reach their destination. And in front of them is an icy cave, and Godzilla is happy because they have reached their destination. But as soon as they are all going ahead, someone from behind asks them to stop. And a polar bear comes to this place, and he stops them and says, "Holy land of monster owners, don't take half a step forward." And the system tells Godzilla about this polar bear. The ancient snow bear is 60 meters tall. It weighs 180 tons and has infinite strength. One claw can crush the opponent's head. And the polar bear says to King Kong, "You hairy monkey, how did you bring humans here?" And another monster arrives at this place, and the system tells Godzilla about it. Ice Bigfoot. 70-meter tall. It weighs 210 tons. The legendary and mysterious Snow Mountain Bigfoot has a violent temper and big hands and feet. And Bigfoot says, "This is not a place for humans to come." And Godzilla is surprised to see both of them, and he is saying, "Oh, a polar bear and Bigfoot that speak human language?" But it seems that they are only two old gatekeepers. And after listening to both of them, Deathbird gets angry and she says to both of them, "Open your small eyes and see clearly, am I human?" And Deathbird returns to his original form and says to both of them, "I just don't want to climb the snowy mountain in this form." Yet Bigfoot doesn't want to let them in, so he says, "Being able to become a human has something to do with being human. Everything related to humans is not allowed to step into the holy land of monster owners." And Polar Bear says, "It was you little thing that hit the big walrus." And after listening to the polar bear, Godzilla says to him, "Yo, the news is quite well informed. I hit the big walrus, so what? Who told him to attack us first? In addition, I am not a small thing. In the past, you were my younger brother in front of me." And Godzilla says to Bigfoot, "You said that nothing related to humans are allowed to enter here, but how did I hear that more than 10 years ago, there were human beings with supernatural powers visiting?" But Bigfoot ignores Godzilla's words and says, "That was before. I wasn't here back then, so it doesn't belong to my care, but not anymore, leave. If you don't leave, don't blame me for being rude." And hearing Bigfoot's words, all three get angry, and Godzilla says to Bigfoot, "We finally climbed to the top of the mountain, and you want to send us away with just one word? Impossible." And King Kong is now ready to fight and she says, "Want to fight? 3 against 2, let's fight." But then someone from inside says, "Let them come inside." And after hearing this, both of them understand that this order is from Baize. So they let them in, and Bigfoot says, "Mr. Baize has spoken, go in. Don't be rude, I'll keep an eye on you." And now all three start going inside, but Bigfoot is still keeping an eye on them. Now the three go forward, and as they go forward there is a beast sitting on an icy throne, and the system tells about this monster. Baize possesses the blood of the ancient monster Zze recorded in Classic of Mountains and Seas. It is 60 meters long and weighs 180 tons. The most mysterious existence on Abyss can be the auspicious beast. It can turn bad luck into good luck. And Baize asks them, "Tell me, what are yours requests for coming here?" And Deathbird comes forward and bows her head, and tells Baize, my friend was hit by the dead rotten reptile king's poison breath. His source of life was deprived, and his body shape has become what it is now. I hope you can purify the energy of the poison breath remaining in his body. And Baizé is surprised to hear this, and he says, "You actually provoked the dead rotten reptile's king. This dragon was hit by the dead and the rotten reptile king's poison breath. Its body shrunk, but its life not in danger?" And Baizé looks at Godzilla and says, "Turns out to be human? Why do humans exist in the form of monsters in addition to the energy of the dead rotten reptile king's poison breath in his body? There is an energy that I've never seen. Energy outside of Abyss Island?" And Baizé asks Deathbird, "You have made up your mind, do you want me to help him?" And Deathbird says, "Yes, I've made up my mind. Please help my friend to purify the residual energy of the poison breath in his body." But Godzilla is not able to understand their words, and Godzilla is thinking, what are these two people talking about? And what makes up yours mind? Why can't I understand? And Baizé agrees to help Godzilla. And then a light falls on Godzilla, and seeing that white light, Godzilla gets surprised. What is happening to him right now? And Godzilla goes up into the air, and bright light starts emanating from his body. And the poison breath comes out from Godzilla's body, and Godzilla is feeling very comfortable, and Godzilla comes to know that the poison has come out from inside him. Then Godzilla asks the system, "Little Kuan, can you analyze whether there is any residual energy of poison breath in my body?" And the system appears in front of him, and tells Godzilla, "Through my scan, the residual energy of the poison breath in your body has indeed disappeared." Unexpectedly, this Baizé is really like what is recorded in the classics of mountains and seas. It can exorcise evil spirits. And Godzilla becomes happy after hearing this, and says to the system, "That's great, so what are you waiting for? I've eaten and drunk all the way to Snow Peak, and I already have more than 300,000 evolution points, right? Hurry up, little Kuan, first add 200,000 evolution points to my height, and try to make me 2 meters. And Godzilla's height increases by 2 meters, which makes Godzilla happy. And Baizé is surprised to see Godzilla's height increasing, and he starts thinking, the figure of this Kui dragon actually grew taller in an instant. Is it the effect of the mysterious energy in his body? This spirit bird can transform the source of life into magic stored in feathers, and this Kui dragon can use the mysterious energy in its body to increase its size. How interesting. And Godzilla tells Deathbird, "I can grow tall again. I am no longer small." And Godzilla says thank you to Baizé, and Baizé says to Godzilla, "Don't thank me. If you want to thank someone, you should thank your friend Deathbird." But Godzilla is surprised to hear Baizé's words and says, "Why should I thank Deathbird?" Then he remembers what he had said to Deathbird earlier. And he remembers, if any request is fulfilled, there is a price to be paid. And Deathbird told him, "Give what you think is the most precious thing, such as health, freedom, honor, relatives, etc." And remembering Deathbird's words, Godzilla says to Deathbird, "You made a request, and then Baizé cured me instantly, without asking for any price from you." And Godzilla is asking Deathbird, "What precious thing did you sacrifice for me? When did you promise him? How come I don't know at all?" And Baizé says to Godzilla, "All the monsters on Abyss Island know that the price for coming to me and asking me to fulfill a request is pay with your own life source." And hearing this, Godzilla gets shocked and says, "The life source? She wants to give her own life source? I have been deprived of my life source and have become smaller. A pterosaur became a mummy after its life source got taken away." And Godzilla is asking Baizé, after she pays you her life source, what will happen to her? Will she become smaller like me? And Baizé tells Godzilla, "She doesn't have your ability, losing the life source will accelerate aging and even directly die of old age." And hearing this, Godzilla gets shocked, and Godzilla is saying to Deathbird, "Ugly bird, you are usually quite smart, why are you so stupid now? Why use your life source as the price? It's my problem, I'd pay." But Deathbird says to Godzilla, "I can do whatever I like. Besides, I don't need you to worry about it. Don't worry, it's not as scary as Mr. Baizé said. I won't die of old age, I will just become more mature and charming." And Godzilla says to Baize, Mr. Baize, please take back the deal with her. You are detoxifying me, and it'd be exchanged with my life source. But Baize tells Godzilla, you can't. Because you're human, as a monster owner, I won't make deals with humans, nor will I satisfy any requests from humans. And Godzilla is shocked when he learns that Baize knows that he was human in a previous life. But Godzilla tells Baize, Mr. Baize, I'm no longer human being. I am now a monster. A T-Rex on Abyss Island, and Deathbird is shocked when she learns that Godzilla was originally a human. And Deathbird is thinking, is he really a human? I heard Bing Chi Wolf mentioning it before, saying that he is a human, but didn't he become human after eating my transformation fruit? But behavior of this ugly dragon does have human characteristics, that is why the Bing Chi Wolf is willing to approach him. And Godzilla is saying to Baize, I will not sacrifice my partner's life for my own benefit. Mr. Baize, I hope you can reconsider. And after listening to Godzilla's words, Baize thinks for a while, then he says, fine, you and the Deathbird have the spirit of self-sacrifice, which is really rare among monsters including this ape. With its own strength, it took you to the top of the mountain with perseverance. I promise you that you can cancel the deal with the Deathbird. And hearing this, Godzilla becomes happy and he says, alright, thank you Mr. Baize, you can take my life source. But Deathbird tells Baize, Mr. Baize, please don't take back the deal with me, I can bear this price. And Baize says, I will not take away both of your life sources. As long as you complete my next trial, the transaction is still valid. And all three are surprised when Baize asks them for a trial. Then Baize starts going outside, and tells all three of them to follow me. Then they all come out, and Godzilla is asking Baize, Mr. Baize, what are we doing here? Before, we. And Baize tells Godzilla, don't worry, the walruses won't bother you anymore, and the ice layer on this lake has been reinforced by me, so it won't break. Lin Yuan, since you are a human being, then we will lease the human way to test. Let's have a hockey-friendly match. Hearing Baize's words, Deathbird wonders, what is this hockey-friendly match? And Godzilla is saying, you even know ice hockey, how'd you say that you have never been in contact with human beings? And Baize says, because I know everything. And Baize tells, in order to make it easier for you who are huge in size to move around, I set the range of the court very spacious. The game does not need to follow human rules, you don't need to wear skates, you don't need to hold a hockey stick, any skill can be used, as long as the ball is hit into the goal. There is only one rule, since you are willing to become a monster and have your own team, so, the game must be played in monster form, using this hourglass side that has the most goals wins. However, since the trial is carried out in a human way, it cannot completely disobey human rules, therefore, the hockey goal and the puck are slightly enlarged according to the scale of human games. And Godzilla looks at the small ball and says, how to play such a small ball without a stick? Isn't this intentionally making things difficult? And Baize says, since it is a test, it must be difficult. Godzilla is saying, well, your turn is up to you. There are 3 of Lise here, and there are 2 more on your side. Are they Polar Bear and Bigfoot? And Godzilla seems to feel, although I didn't play ice hockey in my last life, but I played table hockey, I just need to hit the puck into the opponent's goal anyway. Baize says, no, we're 2 against 2. And Baize points and says, you are in a team with the spirit bird, and I am in a team with this ape. And hearing this, Godzilla gets shocked and says, what did you say? You want to team with Sister Ape? 2 versus 2. And Baize says, yes, you heard that right. Ape girl, come to this side, and King Kong is a little confused, but Godzilla tells King Kong, it's okay, Sister Ape, do as Mr. Baize said, you go to his side. And Godzilla is thinking, Sister Ape is my people, so she will go to his side to be an insider. This match I can win with my eyes closed. And King Kong goes to Baize's team, and Baize says to King Kong, in the next game, you must use all your strength to prevent the bird from scoring a goal, and I will deal with Lin Yuan. If you dare to goof around, I will take back the previous transaction. At that time, will you choose to watch Lin Yuan continue to be attacked by the residual energy of the poison breath or watch the death bird lose its source of life and become an old bird? King Kong gets angry after hearing Bai Zai's words, but she cannot say anything right now. And Bai Zai further says, you don't need to talk, just nod to my command if you do not agree, the previous transaction will be invalid immediately. And King Kong is ready to accept Bai Zai's words. Then Bai Zai says to everyone, alright, the game will begin. And Godzilla says to Bai Zai, hey, didn't you say that you were in a group with the sister ape, why are you leaving? Bai Zai tells Godzilla, the difference in height between me and you is too big, I will obviously bully you in the next game, so I'll send a representative to compete in my place. And as Bai Zai speaks, a small loli appears above King Kong and Godzilla, and Bai Zai tells them, this is the contestant representing me, a weak little loli who has no strength to restrain a chicken. In terms of body shape, you are very dominant, and it is easier for you. And Godzilla looks at little loli and says, this height is about the same as being Chi-Wolf. Is there a loli like you who is 2 meters tall? I think you'd be called King Kong Barbie? And little loli says innocently, big brother, don't bully me during the competition later. And Godzilla is smiling after listening to little loli's words. And now the game is just about to begin. And Bai Zai starts the match, and little loli quickly hits the ball with the hockey stick, carrying it with her at high speed. And Godzilla is surprised to see the speed of little loli, and as soon as he tries to move forward, he slips and falls. And Godzilla tells the Deathbird to stop little loli. And Deathbird moves forward to stop little loli. But then King Kong grabs his leg and throws him. And little loli quickly reaches the goal post and scores a goal. And the Deathbird is saying to King Kong, you monkey, you really play your character well. Why did you stop me? And King Kong is apologizing to Deathbird, and now the game starts again. And again at the start of the game, little loli hits the ball first. And Godzilla is having problems, because little loli is small in size, due to which she is able to play this game faster. And also little loli is making fun of Godzilla, due to which Godzilla is getting angry. And now little loli continuously scores many goals, due to which her team has gone far ahead in this match. And little loli is making fun of Godzilla and saying, not bad. You can keep up with this girl so fast. Then suddenly Deathbird appears in front of little loli, and Deathbird starts blowing strong wind with the help of its wing. And seeing this, Godzilla becomes happy, and Godzilla, moving fast, reaches near the ball, and hits the ball with his tail. But that ball is not going towards the goal post. It goes straight into the sky. Due to which Deathbird gets angry, and she hits Godzilla on the head and then says to him, ugly dragon, why are you using so much force? What a good opportunity you have wasted. And Godzilla says, don't worry, if there is a first time, there will be a second time. Next time, I'll definitely score. And the game starts again, and this time, Godzilla hits the ball first. And both of them are moving fast towards the ball. And Godzilla tells Deathbird, now it's your turn. And Godzilla hits the ball upward with his tail, which is caught by the Deathbird. But then King Kong moves towards Deathbird and attacks him. But Deathbird avoids King Kong's attack, and hits the ball directly towards Godzilla, and Godzilla is now ready to score. But then little loli traps Godzilla's leg with a hockey stick, due to which Godzilla falls. And Godzilla goes straight into the goal post. And Godzilla gets very angry, and Godzilla says to Bai Zai, foul. Mr. Bai Zai, little King Kong loli hooked me with a hockey stick, she fouled. And Bai Zai tells Godzilla, there is only one rule in this trial, it must be played in the form of a monster, all other actions are not considered foul. And little loli teases Godzilla and says, stupid dragon, this is called reasonable collision. And now Godzilla is getting very angry, so Godzilla says, alright, since that's the case, I will let you see what reasonable collision is. But little loli makes fun of Godzilla and Deathbird a lot, and she is saying, you are an ape, you are not weak in speed and strength, but you'd only use brute force. Moreover, look at that stupid dragon, who is already proficient at gliding on the ice, but you are still clumsy. Do you think that, because my balance ability is good and my technique is proficient, I am able to slide freely on the ice surface? You are wrong, on the surface I am gliding, but actually I regard it as a kind of practice. When my body loses its center of gravity and is about to fall, I will change my body posture to relieve the force of falling, learn to unload and borrow force, and you can spin at high speed without losing your center of gravity like a spinning top. Feel the power with yours heart. King Kong is thinking after listening to little Loli, is this sister? Lolita guided me, teaching me how to practice? My strength has always been inferior to Brother Dragon, Brother Wolf and Sister Bird, and I am always behind them. Alright, let's take this competition as a kind of practice. I want to catch up with Brother Dragon, Brother Wolf, and Sister Bird. And now little Loli is going ahead with the ball, and behind her are King Kong, Death Bird and Godzilla. But then King Kong stumbles and falls, and Death Bird is passing over her, and Death Bird sees King Kong falling and says to her, "Silly monkey, you are still working so hard, you deserve that." And King Kong is thinking, don't panic. Must improve my strength, I can't become Brother Dragon's burden. And King Kong tries to get up again, and this time she is moving faster. On the other hand, little Loli and Godzilla are fighting to score. Then the ball comes near Deathbird, but King Kong is behind Deathbird, and King Kong attacks Deathbird, but Deathbird avoids her. And now King Kong's speed has increased a lot. And she controls herself and stands back up. And seeing this, Deathbird gets surprised, and King Kong becomes happy, because she has been successful. And Deathbird is unable to understand how King Kong's agility has become so fast. Then King Kong has the ball, and King Kong scores with just one hit of her finger. Due to which little Loli becomes happy, but Godzilla and Deathbird are getting very angry, and King Kong is apologizing to Godzilla. But this is not a good thing. And Godzilla is wondering, why did Sister Ape take the initiative to help Ze and little Loli? Could it be because she had been threatened? Yes, with the simple character of Sister Ape, I can't stand the fools of the old the fox and the black-bellied Loli. Well, it's fine if you don't know about martial arts, but you dare to threaten the simple ape girl. I must make you look good. And the game starts again. And Godzilla again uses the trick on little Loli, but little Loli already understands Godzilla's trick. But this is little Loli's mistake, because Godzilla is already ready. And Godzilla hits little Loli, causing little Loli to fall, and she starts crying. And Godzilla says to little Loli, "See? This is the real reasonable collision." But now little Loli gets angry, and little Loli says to Godzilla, "Well, silly dragon, you made me do this. Don't blame me." And little Loli creates many clones of herself, seeing which all three become very surprised, and Godzilla says to Baize, "Mr. Baize, didn't you say that it's a 2 versus 2? This little Loli has backups? Moreover, what does the one with the big hammer mean?" But Baize says, this is her skill clone, so it's not a foul. The game continues. Godzilla gets angry after hearing Baize's words, but now Godzilla cannot do anything. Then Godzilla is saying, "Well, we are fighting about who has got the most skills, right? I have more skills." And the match starts again. And Deathbird uses her skill, due to which strong winds start blowing at this place. And all the clones of little Loli are made of ice, due to which she starts flying. But the real clone is somewhere else. And looking at all these ice clones, Godzilla is thinking, it turns out that these avatars are all made of ice and snow. Alright, since it's ice and snow, then my hot rays can restrain you. By the way, is there one clone missing? What about the clone with the hammer? And little Loli is on top of Godzilla with the hammer, and is just about to hit him. And little Loli hits Godzilla on the head, which hurts Godzilla. And he also gets angry. And little Loli says to Godzilla, "I told you, I will beat your brain until swollen." And a clone of little Loli takes the ball. And also takes down 2 of his clones, Godzilla. And little Loli scores again. Now the score is 0-10. And Godzilla is getting very angry, and he is saying, reasonable collisions are fine, but they also beat people? And Godzilla says to Baizay, is this still a ball game? I quit. Old man, you just want me to play. Put the residual energy of the previously purified poison breath back on me. Even if I die, I will never come again and beg you. King Kong and Deathbird are trying to calm down Godzilla, and after listening to Godzilla's words, Baizay says to Godzilla, young man, I can't bear this kind of trial. How can one call? It's a trial if there are no difficulties? How about this? For the next game, we will decide the outcome in one game. As long as you can score a goal, you will pass the trial. How about it? And after listening to Baizay's words, Godzilla says, oh, there is such a good thing, are you playing tricks on me? Well, I'll agree with you once more. But give me a minute first, and I'll discuss the countermeasures with Sister Bird. After some time, the game starts again. And this time Godzilla uses burst breath, and hits the ball directly, due to which the ball passes in front of little Loli. And Godzilla goes over to score, and Godzilla is saying, comparing skills with me? I have a lot of skills at the bottom of the box. And little Loli asks King Kong to stop Godzilla. But Godzilla is moving fast, but little Loli's clones are attacking Godzilla. And Godzilla is saying while enduring their attack, hitting people again. Don't think that's because you are girls, I won't dare to hit you. But then little Loli attacks with a hammer, due to which Godzilla gets hurt, and he falls away. And this makes Godzilla very angry, but the little Loli clones hit Godzilla and run away. And Godzilla is now about to use Heat Ray, and Godzilla uses Heat Ray on those little Loli clones. Due to which all the clones of little Loli melt. And little Loli gets hurt, and Godzilla finally finds the real body. But little Loli says to Godzilla while caressing her buttocks, so what if you find me? You can't stop me, you will lose this match. And little Loli again creates her clones, but Godzilla still moves forward to attack little Loli with burst breath. And attacks burst breath in front of little Loli. And Deathbird arrives to help Godzilla. And Godzilla grabs the Deathbird's legs, and with a burst of breath forms a circle around the little Loli. Due to which the ice melts, and little Loli falls into the water, and Godzilla gets happy and he says, hey, all the troubles are gone, this game is stable now. But then Godzilla senses something, and strong winds start blowing nearby, due to which the ice starts melting, and Godzilla is thinking, damn, little Loli can melt the ice on the entire surface of the lake at the bottom of the lake. Is she so strong? The bottom layer starts breaking. And Godzilla is almost near the attack zone, but the ice under his feet starts breaking due to which he falls, and goes directly into the water. But the ball is moving forward, and then Godzilla uses a burst bomb, which hits the ball directly, and the ball quickly goes into the goal post. Because of which Godzilla would have scored one. Finally, after struggling for a long time, Godzilla's team wins the match. And Godzilla and Deathbird are very, very happy. Then little Loli comes out of the water, and looking at her face it looks like she is sad. But Godzilla says to little Loli, hey, you black-bellied Loli, why did you freeze us? Even if you can't afford to lose, you still can't do this. And little Loli says, you guys only scored 1 goal, what is there to be proud of? I beat you by 10 goals. Then Baizay now comes down, and says to all of them, it went well, beyond my expressions. According to the agreement of a certain outcome, you have won, you have successfully passed my trial, the deal is valid, and I won't take any of yours life source. King Kong and Deathbird become happy after hearing Baizay's words, and thank Baizay. And Baizay says to King Kong, Ape Girl, forcing you to form a team with me, it was hard for you. This is your reward for teaming up with me, and Baizay gives a small bright light to King Kong, seeing which King Kong is surprised. And she asks Baizay, Mr. Baizay, why does this ball of light giving me an extremely cordial feeling? And Baizay tells King Kong that this is the source of life, which belongs to King Kong's parents. And King Kong is surprised to hear this, and she says, did her parents also come to meet Baizay? Mr. Baizay, can you tell me what they used their own life as the price for, what did they ask for? So Baizay tells King Kong, they asked me to keep you safe, now, I'm giving you these sources of life, integrate it into your body and use it to improve your strength. And King Kong absorbs the life sources of her parents, due to which King Kong's body starts glowing, and King Kong's size starts increasing. And the system tells about King Kong. The barbaric ape has the blood of the ancient fierce beast Ao Ruan recorded in classics of mountains and seas in his body, with a length of 57 meters and a weight of 171 tons. And Godzilla is happy to see King Kong. King Kong's power has increased a lot, she has now become stronger and more powerful. And King Kong says thank you to Baizé, and Baizé says to King Kong, you don't have to be polite, since your wish has been fulfilled, you can go down the mountain. King Kong tells Godzilla that we should leave from here. But Godzilla says to Baizé, Mr. Baizé, I wonder if you're willing to go with us. The dead rotten Reptile King is a pest of the entire Abyss Island, and you should be regarded as the guardian of Abyss Island, right? And as soon as Deathbird hears Godzilla's words, she gets angry. And she hits Godzilla on the head and tells him, Master Baizé is the king of monsters on Juan Island. Hey, ugly dragon, did your brain get frozen? How could he join us to deal with that dirty Reptile King? But Godzilla says, since he is the king of monsters on Abyss Island, should he protect Abyss Island and fight against the Reptile King? And Baizé says to all of them, I am getting old, and it is very inconvenient to run up and down the mountain, even if you ask me at the cost of your life source, I can't help you, however, I can ask by sitting to travel with you instead of me. Godzilla looks at little Loli and says, so yours name is Baisidong? What can you even do if you're this small? And little Loli says, I don't know which ugly dragon was beaten up by this girl just now. Then Deathbird says, Lin Yuan, just now you also saw that Sister Baisidong is very capable of listening to ice and frost, and she can also do body clones, so she should be able to help us. And also King Kong says, yes, brother dragon, why don't you ask Sister Baisidong to come with us? Then Baizé says, this is my life source, after being integrated into Baisidong body, it can increase her strength several times. And Baizé gives some of his life source power to little Loli. And that little Loli says, so you should feel at ease, right? Then Deathbird says thank you to Baizé, and at the same time she is speaking to Godzilla. He also says thank you to Baizé, but Godzilla says, I'm not wrong, this little black-bellied Loli is not reliable at all. And after some time, they all leave on their journey. And little Loli is saying to King Kong, why can't you walk a little faster? Reptile King must be waiting for us, I have to beat him. And after listening to little Loli's words, Godzilla is saying, we are going to fight, not to travel. I really don't understand why you are so excited about this journey. Little Loli says to King Kong, Miss Ape, how about letting me help you speed up? King Kong asks little Loli, oh, Sister Baisidong, do you have a way to go down the mountain faster? And little Loli smiles and says, the fastest tool to go down the snow mountain is of course a snowboard. And now with the help of snowboarding, King Kong is going fast down the mountain. And little Loli is having a lot of fun. But Godzilla is scared, and he is telling King Kong to move slowly. And the Deathbird is afraid that it might hit the tree. And just like that, they all set out on their journey to kill the Reptile King. And also let's end today's video here. If you want to see its next part, please subscribe to my channel. And also, the more you press the like button on this video, I will upload the next part as soon as possible. Till then, bye.